בקרוב תזרח השמש, נדע ימים יפים מאלה, הלב נלחם בדאגות. כולם יחזרו הביתה, נחכה להם למטה, הלוואי נדע בשורות טובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לא בודד, שישרפו המלחמות. עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. עם ישראל חי, בעליות בירידות, גם בשעות הכי קשות. הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא אבדה האמונה. עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עם ישראל חי. אור ארצי נחלתנו, לא תיפול כעת רוחנו, מסביב ברזל של חרבות. ויונה תפרוס כנפיים, התקווה בת שנות 2000, עוד נצא לשיר ברחובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לא בודד, שישרפו המלחמות. עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. עם ישראל חי, בעליות בירידות, גם בשעות הכי קשות. הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא אבדה האמונה. הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא אבדה האמונה. עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. כי עם ישראל חי.
Shalom, shalom, folks. How you guys are doing today? I hope you guys are having fun. Today is a beautiful, beautiful day, and I couldn't able to do it last week. And actually, yesterday I tried to do one postings, but there is something going on behind me. Not a good day was yesterday, so I'm trying to complete that one which I started yesterday to do it today. I hope you guys are doing today. Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Cho. May God bless you. May God be with you. We're going to unpack today some of the interesting chapter today, Mark, because we were comparing both Matthew and Luke all these days, and there was a lot of information and data that we were collecting, and we were, kind of munching all these days. We saw so many things about the genealogy of Jesus Christ, about the traveling from Jerusalem to Egypt, whether they did go or not in one version, the other version says no's, and also about the the generation from the David, how the David generation from number 4, when like 14 generations group from Matthew, 7 generation group from Luke. So many things. There are a lot of contradictions from one chapter to other chapter, one gospel to other gospel. So many things. What they were trying to tell, because everything was kind of a copied and plagiarized from one book to another book. We saw so many matters, folks. Again, the disclaimer is I'm not here to, um, discredit all the belief system that you guys have, especially my Christian friends. It's not about that. It's about the truth that you should all should know, so that you all will be turning and knowing the truth, and you'll try to follow the truth and the only truth. That's all that matters here, nothing else. So, folks, today we are going to unpack the wonderful, wonderful, very eloquent chapter of gospel. That's Mark. Mark is a fantastic gospel when you compare to all other Mark, Luke, I mean like June, I'm sorry, John, Luke, and Matthew. Mark is really, really because Mark was the gospel. It was written first from all the gospels, and we don't know from where the sources that Mark has gotten, and we never knew how the information that he has, and even the Mark, Gospels. What was his agenda when he started writing that? That for the first time ever when he started writing the Gospel. So that's the only thing I wanted to tell you guys today. We are going to start about the Mark's agenda of writing the Gospel. What was Mark's agenda? When you read the first thing, first of all, in the book of Mark, there is no birth narrative at all, like Matthew and Luke. They write a beautiful, beautiful genealogy, beautiful birth narratives, and Mary and all the angels and all the birth thing going on. Nothing said because, and moreover, Mark was the first gospel ever written, and Mark writes no account of birth narratives at all. He just plainly starts with as a grown up Jesus. That's all he started. So what was Mark's agenda? So he was not focusing basically on the birth narratives, how the Jesus and where Jesus was born. Also, he was not focusing on the genealogy narratives. Nothing he doesn't want to do that. All he wanted to do focus on one thing. That's the Mark agenda. What was the Mark agenda? The agenda of Mark was the Son of God. Who was the Son of God? Jesus was the Son of God. I mean, how this is possible? I mean, how he is going to prove this one? Mark, why he would like to, because in the Jewish world, the Son of God is different when you compare to Greco-Roman world. Greco-Roman world, the Son of God is completely different. That's why Matthew and Luke went and projected the birth narratives, because birth narratives in the Greco-Roman world is very important for the Son of God. Most of the time, we already seen. I have given a lot of information about this one, about the Greek kings and Greek goddesses and Greek gods, how they were considered as a god, how the human beings were connected with the heavenly, beings, and then producing the mankind that was considered as the Messiah or the Son of God, the same way they were doing for Jesus Christ also. That's the Greek Roman culture way of looking into the Son of God. That's how Matthew and Luke were writing. But Mark, the Son of God, presentation is completely different, totally different. The way that he presents is something, it starts with the beginning. Even the first chapter itself, even it starts in the first chapter says that a dove descended from above, and it said, and they heard the voice call, this is my beloved son. So like, that is the beloved son of who's the father from heavens. So even the first chapter itself marks start that Jesus was the Son of God. But to the Jewish people, it doesn't mean anything, because according to Jewish people, like, everybody is son of God. Everybody, the nation itself, the son of God, children of God. So they won't care about who is the son of God and everything if you go and tell them, because everyone considered for them as a son of God. But it is according to the Gentile world, in the paganism, when you say son of God, mostly in the Greco-Roman world, it represents a king. A king. Usually, most of the kings were called the son of God because their births were so miraculous births. They had this virgin birth, and also there are so many other things which same thing that Matthew and Luke writes, changes the narratives of the birth. So in the middle of the chapters, in the middle of the whole book, Mark, I think mostly in the 16 chapters, like in the middle of the chapter, the beginning he said the Son of God, and in the middle of the chapter, Mark says again, declares that, you know, on the mountain, when the when there is a scenario comes in the middle of the chapters, you know, Jesus and James and Peter, they go to the top of the mountain, and Jesus was completely transfiguring himself into light, shining bright and everything, projects him just like as a God. Like, remember that most of the time the whole New Testament Gospels were exactly writing what happened in the Old Testament. Like Mount Sinai, how the God was shining at the top of the mountain. Now there is a story comes in middle of the mark projecting Jesus as a son or as a God himself. He was shining, transfiguring into a different form. That's what the projection. So Mark starts the gospel with the Son of God, and in the middle of the gospel, again is declaring through this story that Jesus proving himself as the Son of God. And also end of the chapter, when you go to Mark's end chapter, it says that, Mark projects the centurion of Roman soldier declaring that, remember this one, Jesus was crucified, Jesus was on the cross, and the centurion man, when did Jesus died, when he said that I am giving my spirit into their hands, and then he dies after on the cross, immediately the centurion says that this is the Son of God. How he knew that? On what basis he said that? So Mark is in, kind of putting all these words through the centurions, through his disciples, through even the heavenly. So keep on reminding. You know what? This is what the politicians do. If you see the politicians, they will put some rhetoric, words, like, some rhetorics, like they always say, for example, they're talking about so many things about the president here. I'm in US and the US president election, so they keep on telling one as a someone. When they compare this person, he's like, he is this one, he is that. Then immediately what happens? It's kind of a, it's like a gaslighting. It's kind of a gaslighting to the people's mind. There will be somebody, some fanatic will be there. So he would go and try to do something against the person. So that type of a thing, because it's kind of a gaslighting. Mark is gaslighting from his first chapter, middle of the chapters, wherever he finds a place, wherever he sees a place, everywhere Mark will say, he is the Son of God. I am the Son of God. God, that's how he tells every place wherever it was possible. Mark was agenda was Son of God, the Messiah. Mark's agenda, the Son of God and the Messiah, is something you would never even believe that. You would never even believe how Mark is completely feeding the minds of Jewish people, because Jewish people have some knowledge, some, like understanding who was the Messiah and who is the Messiah is. So, but Mark is trying to change that narrative, change the whole, thought processes by through his rhetoric, through his, the constantly telling these gaslighting things and putting them into believe the system, believe that he was the Son of God. But it was only happening in the Gentile, because it is only a Gentile version. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know when I stopped, when I I have no idea. Please forgive me. This is really, oh my God. Look at this. This is bad. This is really bad. Why this is happening, I have no clue, nothing at all. I'm sorry, guys. So, Mark's agenda is putting Jesus as God's Son of God. He was completely planned, thoroughly planned, and he said everything in a way he wanted to narrate. First chapter, middle of the eighth chapter, it ends up with the centurion declaring he was there begging for help, begging for saving them from the diseases, or some kind of disturbed things. And they always address Jesus as Son of God, please help us, look at us. So Mark was throwing all these rhetorics everywhere in his book within 16th chapter. Folks, I'm telling you, the agenda of Mark was completely changing. And the Mark was the first gospel. he was trying to change the complete thought process, complete, the mindset of Jewish people using these gaslightings and rhetorics and so many things Mark is using. As right now, the politicians are using those type of rhetorics against the opponent and making the people to believe it, and people believe that because kept on telling by these big people. Definitely anyone would believe that's what it happened. Mark was the initiator of making these type of gaslightings those days. I'm telling you guys, even in those days, if you see in the Bible, you read in the Bible, whenever Jesus chased the demons out, the demons would say, "Son of God," right? They're afraid you are the Son of God. They don't want to mess with that, right? Think about these nowadays. The evangelists, when they chase out the demons would never say they are the Son of God. Oh, we are the Son of God. They never said. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever noticed that? But when Jesus was kind of, chasing them out, demons were afraid that he was Son of God. Folks, today we started the Son of God narrative from Mark. Mark's agenda was completely to bring the concept of Son of God was Jesus. He is going to change the complete narratives of Messiah. Who will be the Messiah? What is the meaning of Messiah? And how Mark twisted that from the original thing to a different meaning, how he cleverly did that. We will watch it tomorrow, folks, and we will watch it from the next video. And I'm finishing this video very short because my system is acting up very bad. As you see this one, we will come back with tomorrow with some more good things about how Mark twisted the whole thing into a messiah, the meaning of messiah, according to his version, according to the Gentile version, according to, to fit the Jesus in that messiah concept, how he twisted the Jewish people to this one. We'll watch it tomorrow for sure. So tune in tomorrow and make sure that you are watching this and continue to watch, and definitely you'll learn, and I'm positive on that one. So, well, we will until we meet again. Shabbat Shalom, Shavatov, Berkat Shem, Alaikum, Ve'er Shechem. God bless you. God be with you. Take care. Bye bye.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ועת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת עשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה ותפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה ותפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה ותפארה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא